Today's guest is from Montreal, Quebec. Played receiver at the University of Central Michigan, then was taken in the supplemental draft in 2011 by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Then was traded to the BC Lions. Welcome to the show, Kito Poblah. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Nick? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How's life been for you right now with everything going on?
Everything is good. Post-pandemic right now, everybody's just adjusting and, trying to figure things out, with the new regulations and new things going on. But besides that, everything is good, man. We just surviving and striving, bro.
I feel you on that. You say post-pandemic. Are we post-pandemic? Or are we still in the midst of
I know you're right.
pandemic? Like, nobody knows. Nobody knows right now. Like, are we in the middle of this?
It's true, man.
Is it over? We're in the middle.
Exactly. Right now, we're where are we with things like that? I guess I should say post-lockdown in the house. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. So it's good, man. I appreciate you even taking your time to actually just have me on. And like I told you before, bro, I really admired you just, coming into the league and stuff like that. So just like your hat says, King, what's up, baby? What's up?
Hey, this is my clothesline. I just got these in. It's one race.
Nice.
One race, man.
Oh.
It's all about we all have one race to run in life. And, not only that, we are one race, the human race. So it's something that I'm glad that I got done. And cool. It's cool that I was actually looking into this so long before the stuff that's going on right now, right? Because the understanding of just the outside world, being in the locker room is different. You're in the locker room with different races and different things that it's like an open forum for conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's like 100%. When we talk, and Barrett kind of talked about this too, is like when you go to the battle with people and you trust people, you can have different type of conversations.
Facts.
Right. And right now there's a lot of people that's reaching out to trust to have these conversations.
Yeah, man.
Have you had anything like that going on right now in Winnipeg or?
You know what, man? It's funny that you say that because yesterday I was talking to my buddy TJ Player, and I played with him when I was in BC. He's an Indigenous and Black guy. So, with this whole entire Black Lives Matter stuff that's going on right now, we're seeing, I guess, an awakening of people where people are starting to realize, okay, there's been an issue, not only with Black people, but Indigenous people, just minorities, period. I think for the first time in history, people are starting to kind of be more open to learning about this whole entire thing. So yeah, you know what? It's been crazy because a lot of my buddies who do a lot of social stuff in the city who've played before are reaching out saying yo, what can we do to actually change or even educate people and do it in a civil way, right? And that's why I really love your shirt because it is one race. It is one. We're all human at the end of the day, right? So it's really just about allowing us to be able to come together and use our platforms, use our skills, use our resources, and just educate, man. Education is so important, bro. Being open, you know what I'm saying, and just learning, just allowing, and just just being. I think that's what we forget to do is just to be. We are all human beings first, so that's one adjustment that I'm learning, to be honest. Coming out of football, you're a gladiator. But then when you go into real life, it's you're like everybody else. And now you're looking around damn, I'm not a gladiator anymore. So you're trying to figure it out. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. My great-great-grandmother was a full-blooded American Indian.
Nice.
Blackfoot out of Oklahoma.
Cool.
The cool thing is, man, one of the first time an American Indian was tried was in my hometown in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, Big Tree in Santana. So it's a pretty cool history, man, coming out of a small town. And, it's crazy to think about the whole concept of where we are today. The perfect storm of COVID keeping everyone in the house with nothing else going on in the world, to put race at the forefront.
True, man.
Right? To put it at the forefront to where you have to look at this and you have to say, you know, what it is.
100%.
And it's very uncomfortable for some people because, like, I have white friends that be like, you know, you're my friend. You know, I don't have any malice towards black people. But it's just like the cops, right? This is not about. See, the thing is, they try to change the narrative because there's a lot of people with a lot of money on the line that if they change the narrative, then they can keep making their money.
100%.
And the biggest thing for me is this is not blacks against cops. This is not people against cops. This is everyone against bad cops. You know what I'm saying? This is not black against white.
No.
This is everyone against racist. Right? And I mean, we all have our own stereotypes. We all have our own judgments and things like that. But like you said, it's taking the time to step out. I've never been around East Indian people in my life. Last year in BC was my first time to ever be around East Indian people. But I did it with an open mind and an open heart. And I met so many wonderful people.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? This is not like you can look at something and say, oh, well, a couple bad people created this whole thing and did bad things. And then now I'm supposed to condemn all of them.
Right. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. Like, it's just crazy to think about. And, you know, all black people aren't criminals. All white people aren't racist.
Right.
All Mexicans aren't rapists. And all Muslims aren't terrorists. Like, it's okay to understand, to know someone. And I mean, you're going to get hurt along the way.
Right. True.
Right. There's going to be some people that break your heart, that, you know, stab you in the back, per se. But I mean, we got friends that we grew up with that did the same exact thing. It's our same race.
True story.
You know what I'm saying?
Big facts, bro. Big facts. And that's the funny thing that you're talking about, man, is all those things are just part of human nature, man. You know, the good, the bad, everything. And every single race is going to experience the same exact stuff, right? It's like, it doesn't really matter. Like, if it was a white guy, black guy, Chinese guy, it doesn't really matter. The same experiences, we've all experienced the same crap, no matter where you are in the world. So.
It's just something different.
Yeah, man.
Right? And, you know, you grew up in Montreal, man, and me playing there for 3 years and just really seeing what kind of city that is. What part of Montreal you grew up in?
So I was back and forth. So like when I was born in Montreal.
Yep.
And I grew up part of my life in Dola des Amos. So that's like in PPO area, like the West Island.
Okay.
And it's probably about like 45 minutes away from the stadium and downtown area. And I was there until I was like 5 or 6, and then I moved down to South Florida, and that's where I spent a lot of my elementary, middle school, high school down there. But I was always going back and forth from Florida to Montreal because I still have my relatives that lived in Montreal. So that's how I actually knew Corey Watson was a guy that I actually grew up playing with.
Awesome.
Actually just playing basketball. My cousin Carl Volny and I used to, who was also in the
That's
CFL.
your cousin?
Yeah,
Carl. We was teammates in Montreal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I call it, the chocolate pinball, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, tell Carl I said what's up.
Yeah, I will, bro. That's my homie, dog. That's my dog. Like we grew up together, bro. Same household, everything. So like our story is very similar. Like so. We went to the same high school, same college, and then we even got drafted in the same pro team in the CFL. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, man, it was an incredible journey, and he's obviously a big part of like my journey. So as I'm telling my story, I'm kind of sharing it with Carl, to be honest. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was the reason to going back and forth from Montreal to South Florida?
So basically, like, you know, my parents are both entrepreneurs. My mom is a chemist and my dad is just like the businessman. So she used to make lotions and like makeups and all this other stuff, like legit stuff. Like we even had like like a warehouse full of like different types of cosmetics and stuff that they used to push out. So Miami was a great place for the type of products they sold because it was more geared towards the ethnic background of the culture or
Yeah.
the makeups and stuff like that. So Miami was a great opportunity. So we moved down there when I was like, 6, 7, and then our family still lived in Canada. So I'd come up and visit during the winter times and during the summer times, and then eventually Carl just moved down there when he was like 8 or 9, and he moved down to Florida and he lived with me. And then in the summer times and winter times, I'd go up there and just we go back and forth, him and I. And so, yeah, man, that's pretty much what it was.
Did you start playing football in Montreal, or did you start playing in Florida?
Yeah, so I started playing football in Florida. I was, I think, 8, 9 years old when I first started playing flag football, and then I got into tackle football and stuff like that. But my first sport was baseball. I was really, really good at baseball growing up.
Really?
And then we used to travel all the time. We used to go to we've gone to Mexico, St. Louis, Daytona. Like we were playing real good travel baseball, and that was really like my first sport until I got into like 12, and guys started hitting puberty and stuff, and I was still like a little stick and stuff. And I wasn't hitting the ball as far no more. I was like, man, I got to switch it up right now. So I went and focused more on football and basketball at that time. I really loved basketball growing up as a kid. And yeah, man, just by the time I was in middle school, I was really into basketball. I was playing basketball all the time. I thought I wanted to go pro in basketball. So when I went to high school, I started focusing more on basketball there. And then Carl was actually really highly recruited in high school. He had scholarships to freaking where was it? Colorado, Ole Miss, Tennessee. Like he had like some legit big time schools that were always coming to our school, and I wasn't really thinking about college. Yeah, for football. And I wasn't really thinking about college at that time. And I was like, man, what am I gonna do after high school? Like, I don't know. I the one thing I did not want to be, Nick, bro, was that guy who goes back to high school in the car trying to pick up the talk rate. I was like, hell no, that ain't gonna be me, bro. That motivated me, bro. That motivated me to just like, I don't know, figure it out.
But having Carl there, along the way, and him getting offers and things like that, when you were playing high school football or basketball, and you said you stepped away from baseball, when you're playing these sports, like that mindset, when did you really create the mindset that you wanted to be better than people on the field and not just be on the field?
You know what? I think I always had that competitiveness, to be honest. I feel like since I was a kid, whenever I played something, I always took it very personal. Like for some reason, for me, I used to always used to just bother me just to like lose or like say like somebody says I can't do it or like like that challenge has always been kind of like ingrained in me. So I don't think I ever had a like struggle trying to get motivated. Yeah. I think it was really just trying to find direction in where I wanted to take my life. And I think a lot of times, when I was like in middle school, I wanted to become an engineer. I wanted to become a fireman. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to become, to be honest. I just know I wanted to become something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I always. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say with your mother being a chemist and and saying your dad being an entrepreneur, like that's some good stuff right there. So growing up, you're seeing different worlds. I mean, Montreal and Miami, they're very comparable. A lot of people like myself, I call Montreal the Canadian Miami.
Nice.
Right? Because of the nightlife and how different of a vibe it is.
Yeah,
it's very diverse. It's a different vibe than
100%.
You're gonna get anywhere else.
Right.
Even like it's way different than Vegas.
Yeah, interesting.
Right. So you see the different peoples and I'm pretty sure in Miami, I've never been. I've been to Fort Lauderdale, but it's like I just envision, like, you know, during the day, people at the beach, people hanging out. It's real
100%.
chill.
Yeah.
Montreal, people at St. Cat's,
Yeah.
people walking the
Yeah.
street. It's
Exactly.
real chill.
Exactly.
But when that sun go down, it turned into a whole
Yeah.
different city.
It's
You know what I'm saying?
facts. Yeah.
So that's one of the things that when I look at the whole concept there, going from Miami to Montreal
Mm-hmm.
and seeing that dynamic, did it affect you at all? Was there ever anything in your mind from Canadian to American, or going back to Canada and reconnecting with old friends? Like, did that ever play a part of anything?
You know what? When you're down south as a Canadian, you know, people always like, "Oh, you Canadian, you sorry, you a scrub." Like they always be talking trash. Like that's just what it is. You know, like when you tell you're Canadian. Especially at that time when Drake wasn't around, so nobody was really cool to be like, "Yo, I mess with Drake, he Canadian." Like, you know, it's like you by yourself basically.
Who was your big? I mean, you had some big Canadians, but most of them was white.
Yeah,
John
exactly.
Candy, Dan Aykroyd, and
Right.
all those Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey,
and
exactly.
right? So you didn't have anybody that you felt like
Nah,
represented you
nah,
in
exactly.
that community.
Exactly, bro. So like, yeah, man, just that scenario was, you know, I think, and like I think like you were talking about, like my parents being entrepreneurs, I've kind of always have had that push because, to be honest, like we didn't always have like when we first started in Miami, we lived in the hood of Miami, and then a couple years later we moved into like a decent apartment in like a middle class neighborhood, and then by the time I was 13, 14, we lived in a neighborhood where there was a damn fence all the way in Weston where there wasn't many black people. And I saw progression with my parents, and I saw how hard work and actually them being determined and actually grinding and putting in that work for years upon years upon years and being consistent actually led them to some form of the life that they wanted. So and that also has been instilled and helped me because I lived it personally. You know what I'm saying? I've actually seen the progress of what work looks like, even though it doesn't look like anything in front of you now. It's just building brick by brick, and eventually you have something.
Yeah. Were you the only kid, or did you have
No,
brothers
so
and sisters?
I was the youngest of four. So basically, it was my older brother, two older sisters, and then I was the youngest of them. But then when Carl came in, it was him and his brother Nori, and we were six basically, right? We were like basically like six kids, two adults actually three adults in the apartments, and yeah, man, we just we made it work, bro. We made it work. We were in Pembroke Pines at that time, and we were living there for 4 or 5 years, and like I say, man, I think that's the type of stuff that you don't really realize you're poor when you're in it.
Yeah.
Until you're like, damn, like they got houses and like they got like freaking gates and stuff. You can live like this. I'm like, I didn't even know I was poor like that, bro. I'm like, damn, for real? Jeez. But yeah, bro, like it really changed my perspective, though. Yeah.
Did your brothers or sisters play sports?
Yeah, my brothers played basketball. My older brother played basketball. My oldest sister played track, and my other one was a gymnast. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Did they do that after high school, or?
Yeah, they were doing it during school there. So they were doing it in high school. They were doing it. My brother's the only one who moved on to play college basketball. Everybody else after college. I mean, after high school, we were finished with this.
Where'd your brother go?
He went to Nova Southeastern University. So it's a D1, AA school.
So you getting to Central Michigan, right? We talked about the high school growing up, competing. Carl's got some offers and everything. How did that all come about? One, you finding out about Central Michigan, you getting to Central Michigan, and I guess also how did Carl get there? You know, was it like a package deal, like you and Carl both, or can you walk us through that situation?
So the Central Michigan situation really just came about like so I'll tell you, I was a junior. I had no scholarship. Carl had like hella scholarships. Carl was legit like a blue chip coming out of high school, coming out of Florida. He was like ranked in a definitely top 5 or top 3 in the whole entire state. He was killing it. And we were having scouts come all the time. So I was very fortunate because of him, to be honest, to get seen to some degree. Yep. However, scouts didn't really like me. They're like, man, this guy's too tight. He's this, and he's blah, 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 talking all this trash. So anyways, I'm going into my senior year, and I have no scholarship. And we're about to play a team called Flanagan. And they're a 5A school. We're a 3A school. They are like legit. They have the Guinness World Record for the most seniors ever graduated in one class, which was I think 5,000 or 6,000 kids in one class. And their graduation ceremony went for like 12 hours. Like I think it was like maybe 24 hours. I don't even know how long. But anyways, we're playing this school, and it's the first time we ever played them. They're about like maybe like 5-10 minutes away from our school. We're the small school. Everybody goes to their school because we're a charter school. So you have to be selected through a lottery to go into our school, but it's free. But it's like private school education. But anyways, we're playing these guys, and everybody's expecting them to whoop our butt, basically. And anyways, we ended up playing them. There's basically so many kids out there. Second play of the game, I take that ball and I go run 70-yard touchdown and basically get things rolling. Our defense gets the ball back. I get that ball back. I'm playing quarterback, actually. Carl and I, just to let you know, I'm playing quarterback and Carl's running back. So we played options. So we just like, we did that option, triple option. So second series comes in. I basically, we get that ball back. Freaking 24-yard touchdown on the other side. So we're up 14-0, like legit, like the first 4 or 5 minutes. Everybody's like, oh damn, we can actually win. And so we end up actually winning. And the score was like 40 to like I think 20 something. And I ended up getting a call from Central Michigan, like not even like the day later. And basically what had happened was that they were scouting some kids on their other team, but since we performed so well, they didn't expect us to do so well. They're like, who the hell is this guy? It's exactly how I got on with them. And basically is my guy, Mike Elston, who's at Notre Dame right now with Brian Kelly, who's the one who recruited me. Those guys recruited me. So yeah, man, they not even a week after that, they were at my crib and having dinner with us, just telling us like, yo, we really want this guy to come and come visit and all this other stuff. And it was really profound, bro, because, like at that time, I was telling you, I wasn't really thinking about college, and I just knew I didn't want to be that one guy coming back to high school in the car and shit. I was like, nah, that can't be me. So I had to, I don't know. I feel like everything was self-actualized. And when I got the scholarship, they brought me up. A couple other schools like Pittsburgh wanted me at that point. After that, Colorado State and Akron had given me scholarships to those schools, but I didn't really feel like I was really attracted to those schools because they came in after I already had gotten, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't really feel connected to those schools. So I just went and took a visit to Central Michigan and made my decision there. Carl came with me. Carl was indirectly kind of pulled with me, to be honest, because I was like, I had called his mom, like, man, please convince Carl to come with me because I can't come here by myself. And he had a lot of scholarships. I'm telling you, like, he couldn't went anywhere at that point, but he ended up coming to Central Michigan. And I honestly feel like if he would probably went somewhere else, he would have probably had done better because his style was more like an SEC type of running back where he's like that, like the power back stuff. But I think all in all, anyways, Carl made it to where he got to. He still always blames you like, man, you brought me to Central. And I'm like, damn, yeah.
That's one of those things, man. Like for me, I played quarterback my senior year in high school.
Nice.
Right, so that was the biggest thing. That's when I got into Southern Arkansas. I was a walk-on, and like I got I played in the All-Star game, and I got MVP at the All-Star game, but I played receiver. And, you know, I guess 2 guys didn't show up, so me and the other receiver played the whole game. And, I ended up going off, getting MVP at the All-Star game.
Oh.
And then a couple teams reached out about stuff. Like, we don't really have scholarships left, but I was like, no, I'm already going to Southern Arc. I'm going to Southern Arc. And, when I get there, we get in the locker room the first day. I remember 2-a-days, I'm sitting there during the orientation or whatever. You know, they do all the meetings and you introduce all the coaches and the staff and all that stuff for the players and, you know, the liaisons and who's who.
Right.
And everything. And then they're like, all right, we're going to split up into your position groups. And, they were like, Nick, you're with the quarterbacks. I'm like, nah. I didn't come here to play quarterback. We ran the option too.
Okay.
But in high school, we ran 32 different formations. So we never ran. We would like teams had to prepare for so much to play us because we were running constantly different formations. We only had about 5 plays in each formation. Right. So, so I was like, man, I'm not a quarterback. I'm a receiver. And next thing you know, they were like, all right, we'll go to receivers. And then one of the receivers, he was like, man, I'm a quarterback. So then he goes to the quarterbacks. And, we ended up breaking a lot of records together. So that's the story, man. Like, that's the funny part. Like, I hear you talking about playing quarterback and then going to Central Michigan. Did they want you as a quarterback, or did you tell them, like, I'm really a receiver? Because you're like 6'2".
Yeah.
Right? So you're not a small guy. You could have played the quarterback role.
Low key, I could. I thought so too, but they're like, nah, this guy ain't got the arm. I'm like, man, I thought I had something, man. I thought I had it, dog, but it's all good. They brought me back to safety, and then when I was at safety, not even a couple practices in, the strength coach said, hey, go try receiver. And basically the rest was history there. Like, I went and played receiver, and man, that was pretty much what it was. But I'm actually interested in your story now, man. Like, this is why I feel like we need to do this. We need to do this again, though. We need to do this again. Because I think that's a really cool story.
There's similarities.
No, there's a lot of, I love it. We're going to have to do this again, though, for real. Just we'll do an Instagram live. I want it, because I think the cool thing about what you were just talking about, so you walked on to...
I'm a Division II walk-on.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful, man. See, we need to see. All right, man. Look, I'm gonna take it in today. You interviewing me, I'll take it. But I need to interview you for real, bro.
We can make it happen.
Okay,
we can make
bro,
it happen.
That'd be great, bro, for real.
But yeah, like, just that there's a lot of similarities, man, and to get to, and that's why I love doing this, man, because to see how people get to where they get to, it's truly. Some people give up. Some people stop. Some people get there. Some people do it without even recognizing it, right? Like, you watch the Last Dance with Jordan, right? Jordan knew what he needed. He needed doubters. He needed haters. Think about this. If Jordan had Twitter, he would have been on Twitter on the bench looking at haters talk about him missing the last shot.
It's true, man.
Right? Jordan would have went off every game. Like, for someone to create, things that people have said to him, to create it in your own mind for your own motivation. What was your motivation? What motivated you? Like, when you get to Central Michigan, you look around, you're like, man, there's some talented dudes here.
Yeah.
Right? There's some talented dudes here. What motivated you to get in the mind frame and say, you know what, I'm about to play here. I'm not only play, but I'm about to go be one of the best ones here.
Yeah, honestly, bro, the first thought was God and my family, bro. Like, I feel like without my faith, bro, I wouldn't have been able to make it as far, just based on, like when I got to Central Michigan, bro, it was the first time I was around so many white people, to be honest. Yeah. I was one of those kids that was, I won't say like I played football. I played baseball growing up in South Florida. You play with a lot of mixed and diverse kids,
Yeah.
and I played with Spanish kids, white kids, and I had some of my friends were that. But in Michigan, especially, there's people that have never seen a black person before. Literally, I had long ass hair. I remember going to class, 300 people, and literally, I had this one chick say, "I never. Do you mind if I touch your hair? I've never seen I've never seen that type of hair." I said, "Yeah, that's fine. That's cool." And she touched my hair, but it was like so different. I had to learn how to, open my mind up, because the best thing that happened for me going to college, bro, was the fact that I got opened to exactly what's going on right now with these Black Lives Matter situations, was the fact that not all white people are bad. I actually realized that, because at that time when that lady was like, "Yo, do you mind if I touch your hair?" Like, I've never seen it. She was really just curious. It was like
Yeah.
nothing that was like any type of feeling. She's like, "Yo, like, I just want to learn right now. Like, how does this work?" And so that really helped me open me up, because I was like, "Yo, if somebody's curious and as open as her is trying to see, and maybe it is uncomfortable for both of us at the same time, but we can both take something out of it." I think that one thing, to be honest, really opened me up
Yeah.
to, I guess, just to be open, bro. Just to be open. You know what I'm saying? So, going to Central Michigan was one of those things for me that was probably my biggest blessing, because after that, I actually learned how to be very, very open. And I wasn't when I first had gotten there. I wasn't that open. I was like really stuck in my box. Like, yo, this is what it is. This is what it is. Oh, like, you're dealing with this side, that side. I was really like that. And
Did you
so,
see a lot of diversion, like as far as or separation in Miami growing up?
yeah, bro. Like,
Like it
you,
was separated?
so you see it. So like it's a lot more real. Like here in Canada, there's like a silent type of like, I feel some type of way, but I'm not gonna be outwardly with it. I'll
Yeah.
probably show you in a different way. But down there, it's a realistic thing. Like it really is, where if somebody don't really mess with you, they don't really mess with you. But it's
Yeah.
not like it happened to me all the time. It would just happen to me here and there, and where it would dramatically impact my life. Like being called the N word at freaking 12, being told you're gonna go to jail by 14, like being like a whole bunch of things that we're told, like that I was
Yeah.
growing up with, and I can remember these situations, right? So as you were asking about, what helped me get through all of this, was just understanding, one, what my parents instilled with me. Like they always told me, like, you're not just going for you right now. You're going for everybody that came in front of you. Your
Yeah.
ancestors, your grandparents, and just learning my history as a person was very impactful for me, to actually be like, you know what, like when I was doubting myself, and when I was like tired, and when I was like, oh man, like I already know if I could keep going. I just really would think about all the people who came before me and sacrificed to actually help me get here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm West African. My mom's Haitian. So both those cultures are are very um, are very similar in nature, but their stories are a little different. So the
Yeah.
Haitians were captured as slaves, but the West Africans were being deported. I mean, people were being deported from West Africa. And my dad's tribe was actually one of the very few that didn't actually get caught into slavery. And so,
Mm.
what my last name actually stands for is actually can't be caught. So it's like,
Oh
for
wow.
me, one of those things was like, when just like my history, bro, like in terms of never quitting, never doubting, like, even when you do feel like it, like we don't all always feel great. That's the cool, like, that's not, but it's actually in those times when you don't feel your best is when you actually should be pushing harder. And I think
Yeah.
that perseverance and persistence is what really allowed me to actually, continue, bro. And, when I got through Central Michigan, it was a really great thing, because we had won some championships. I got to meet people that I like have really strong relationships with. And yeah, man, that's been probably my motto, bro. It's my history, bro. Like I just carry it with me, and I just try to be as good as a person as possible.
That's awesome, man. That's great history. And one of the biggest things, like for me, that's another thing, another issue for Black people. You know, coming to Canada, Black people know I'm first generation, second generation Canadian, third generation Canadian. Like my great granddad came here from here, or my grandfather came here, or my mother came here. Like, I don't know. Like, it's so hard to know because most Blacks took the names of their slave masters. So when that happens, you lose your history line. Right. And now you're in a situation to where how that history gave you power, right? It gave you passion. It gave you an understanding of what your greatness could be. And there's a lot of Black people now trying to create that.
100%. Exactly.
Right. For our grandkids.
100%.
So they look back and now we're providing our history because we don't really have the history. It cuts off. So if you go back all the way to mine, it's like slavery. So then all our history comes from slavery.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from Africa.
100%.
Because now you can do DNA tests and stuff like that, and I still hear that's pretty tricky how you're don't trust in all of that all the time, right? Right. So, but that's one of the biggest things is that to have that power and to have that understanding of your history is so important.
Yes.
Right. 100%. For you as a man and for everyone that walks this planet, their history, it gives them power, it gives them pride. To try to accomplish what they want to accomplish in life. So that's pretty awesome that you know that. And like I said, a lot of Canadians know that and understand that because of the differences in the journeys to where we are today.
100%, man. 100%. And I like how you kind of brought it to now as well, like how we're laying down the path for our grandkids, because I like how you spun that. Like, I think it's really cool because you're totally right when you're talking about that empowerment. Now that, everything is kind of shifting, we're able to lay that down for our grandkids and everybody else going down. So coming down like the line, so it's really cool how you said it. Cause I don't think I actually understood it until you just said it that way. Like I was just speaking from my heart saying like, this is what drives me, you know what I'm saying? But it's really cool how you just spun it and actually made it into like what's actually happening right now. You know what I'm saying?
And I tweeted yesterday that the U.S. is built on lies and slavery, right? And I think that right now is the time to rebuild it on truth, 100%. Right? And if we build it on truth, then we get to a place that's never been gotten to before.
Facts.
I think it's very important for people to understand that the Nazi scientists is what they brought over to work in NASA.
Interesting. How long ago? When?
After the Nazi scientists they captured in Germany, there's people that escaped, there's people that were killed, but the Nazi scientists were brought to the U.S. to work in NASA.
This
right. So, but the thing is that the importance of this whole thing is this: it's not the hate. What did those scientists do for the advancement of the world at this point? Yeah, they used it for bad in Germany. But once they were here, they used it for good. I mean, they still hated outside of that or whatever, and they create division. And I'm not trying to justify any of that, right? But I'm just saying is inclusion of everyone allows for some of the smartest people. Like you look how Black people have made it to this far, right?
True. Yeah.
What was created by Black people that they don't get credit for now to be in rooms to help create, to advance the world.
Real stuff.
Right.
I see where you're going with this,
Right. So every race
100%.
Sitting at a table can advance this world to a place that,
Facts.
But it's got to start with truth.
Facts.
And that's the biggest thing for me. It's got to start with the truth of, yes, the word says this. As long as we have truth and we can move forward, there's, and it's funny because there's a lot of white people that think Black people want to enslave them or want to take over the world.
No, man, they tripping with that, man. Then I saw something about Terry Crews. Terry Crews saying something about black supremacy, and I'm like, bro, this has nothing to do with any of this stuff right now. Like, dog, we just trying to actually get an equal playing field, bro. Like, just keep it fair, dog. That's what, just keep the game fair, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, dog, you can play with 12, you can play with 13, 14, 15 people. We got to stick to the script and play with 12 or 11 men. Like, nah, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, let us play fair. Like, keep it fair.
Keep it fair. And that's all we want. But when you were in Central Michigan, how long did it take you to get on the field and be productive as a receiver? Like, how many years? Was it your freshman year, sophomore year?
Yeah, so after I redshirted my first year, and then after my redshirt year, my redshirt freshman year, I was playing, man. I was playing at the time. After that, I started every year after, and yeah, man, just was really focused on just playing, man. Just trying to be as productive as possible, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That mindset. How did Carl help in this situation?
Carl is like, for real, my rock, bro. Like, he's the one who supports me, bro, because I'm like, he is so calm and so collected, like, for every situation. And I like, to me, like, I have a very short, I guess, patience.
Yeah.
I would say. And I'm very passionate, bro. Like, I'm really, like, if I care about some shit, I really care about it. And I go, like, all the way. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, for me, I can take things too personally. Like I said before, I can take things too heavy when it's not even that heavy. It's like, bro, you're being too much right now, Kito. Like, chill out, bro. Like, relax. And that's what Carl does, man. He just keeps things in perspective for me. And he's always done that. And, you know, anytime I've needed encouragement, like, you know, that's my brother, man, for real. Like, I know for sure I could not have made it this far without Carl, bro. That's 110%. There's times where I've wanted to quit. There's times where I've wanted to be like, you know, F all this stuff. Like, I'm done, you know, like, being on my hot-headed stuff. And Carl was there, bro. Like, you know, hey, bro, chill. Like, what's your goal? Like, what is it? It's bigger than us right now. Like, just continuously, like, giving the message, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. For me, like I said, family for me has been always my driving force, where I've always been able to set out a goal and tell my family, hey, look, this is the goal I'm going for. Hold me accountable to that standard to get it. And that's what they've done so well. And so I've been very fortunate, bro, for real, to be able to have the support, to be able to do that. You know, now that Carl's not around so much, I have really solid friends that do that for me, right? Like, yeah. I can honestly tell my friend, hey, bro, this is what I want to go get. Hold me accountable to that standard. And so, yeah, bro, it's so important. So that's what Carl has done for me, for sure.
That's good, man. It's always good that, you know, just thinking about the journey, like Carl comes to South Florida, which in turn helps him, right, in his journey. And then he goes to Central Michigan with you to help your journey.
Yeah.
And then you both make it to Winnipeg. How was that journey leaving Central Michigan? Did Carl come out before you, or did y'all both redshirt?
So that time, no, we both came out at the same time. So that was the year of the lockout. So I was actually waiting. Like, Carl had entered the draft, the CFL draft, and I was waiting for the NFL draft. And we weren't even sure if we were going to have a season that year. And basically, like, I went to training camp late because I was wanting to go to the NFL, but they had that lockout. And then, like, my agent was like, yo, just go to the CFL and then play there for a year and then come back down here. And that was originally the plan in terms of actually going down there. I mean, coming up here to play. And things just turned differently, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you went in the supplemental draft, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So I entered late.
And Winnipeg drafted you?
Yep.
How was that feeling when you see Winnipeg drafted you after they'd already had Carl?
It was great, man. I was like, hell yeah, man, let's get it, man. Let's go. Round 3, man. High school, college, and pro. Let's go. Yeah, it was great, man. I wouldn't have wanted it any differently, you know.
And when going into Winnipeg as a rookie, like you said, you were waiting on the NFL. They're in a lockout. You're coming to Canada, to Winnipeg. I don't know if you've ever been to Winnipeg before.
No, I haven't. I didn't even hear about Winnipeg before, bro. I didn't even know where Winnipeg was. I was like, where the hell is Winnipeg, bro?
Central Michigan has prepared you for Winnipeg, and it's like, now you're here. You show up to training camp. What's the mindset, and what are you thinking? Do you think, like, are you going into this thinking, like, I'm supposed to be in the NFL, I'm just going to the CFL, or are you thinking about this, like, I'm about to go up here and smash dudes? What was your mindset like when you came? Because it's a hard mindset to go from NFL to CFL, right? When I was coming out, I went from possible fifth-round draft pick to possibly going to play Arena 2 football, making $200 a week. And I'm like, that's a different mindset to go from that to that. Like, it's hard to do that.
Yes.
Was it hard for you to go from where you were, like, okay, I should be drafted or I could be getting in the NFL, to lockout to now going to the CFL? What was that mindset?
You know what? Honestly, for me, it was like, yo, I'm just gonna go up here and do work, man. Like, I felt like I was just going to, I don't know, man. I just had a certain confidence. Like, when I came into training camp, you know, that's the beginning of Swaggerville and everything. I remember the first practice, bro. They're over here lighting up the receivers and, like, just, like, tackling them and all this other stuff. They're talking trash. And I was like, man, that shit ain't going to happen to me, bro. Like, they got me tripping. So I caught the ball, and I was just trying to run over dudes, man. And I remember me and B-Stu ended up getting a fight because Brandon Stu is my dog too, by the way. But
love B-Stu.
we ended up getting a fight because it was like, bro, I was like, I'm not gonna let nobody touch me like that. So I got my respect pretty quickly up here in terms of actually just like not taking stuff. And at the end of the day, for me, my mentality has always been a kill or be killed on the football field. Like, at the end of the day, just like you. One thing I love about your style, Nick, is the fact that you played bully football, bro. You was a damn bully, bro, as an offensive player, which wasn't normal. So it's like, to me, that's exactly the mentality that I messed with. It was like, you know, I'm an offensive guy, but I'll hit you too. Like, you coming for a hit, I'm gonna hit you too. So that was like my mentality, you know what I'm saying? So like, it was good because I think at the same time, like, it set the tone as a receivers and stuff like that. I did end up getting hurt really early, so I had a terrific training camp, man. And then my first game, I got hurt, and then I was out for 9 weeks. I had torn my PCL. I came back. We played Saskatchewan. I went for like 9 catches, 100 and some yards, and then the next week after that, I get hurt again, and I tore my clavicle, man. I was like, oh my goodness, dog, this is the worst luck ever, son. So we ended up making the Grey Cup that year, and I ended up playing, but it was like it was like my first game back into the Grey Cup, so I didn't even get to play much. I was going to have to play like 4 or 5 plays, but anyways, we didn't end up winning or any of that stuff, but it was just weird because, you know, at that time, it was the first time I've ever been hurt that consecutively. Like, I've never been hurt like that, you know, and right when I got to the league, I started just getting hurt damage. And honestly, I feel like after I got hurt so many times my first year, it affected how I was actually playing. So, like, you know, getting over that hump, like, you know, when it's like, okay, I hurt, like, now I have to, like, overcome. So it took me probably like a year or two to kind of get back on my feet. Like, the next year I played with the Bombers, and I did pretty well, but it wasn't like, it was like kind of like my first year. Like, it kind of, my first year wasn't my first year. It was like legit my first year now. So anyways, by the time I get to BC though, like, I start actually feeling good. Like, now I'm like, damn, okay, now like exactly how I came into the league
a little bit.
Yeah, bro. Like, I can start feeling myself coming back into rhythm and everything like that. But that's a story in itself, man. That you know, Wally is a great dude. And he gave me a fair shot, fair opportunity. There's just certain things that had happened that I wouldn't feel comfortable with, to be honest. Like, I playing football at BC was really great because I thought it was better organization than it was here in Winnipeg at the time. It actually felt like a pro team. But yeah, man, I don't know if you have any other questions for me, but I could keep going though.
Yeah, tell us about about BC then. Like what
Yeah.
happened in
So
BC that
for BC, I was playing with Kevin Glenn, Lule. Actually had like veterans around you. My dog Manny Arsenault, freaking Big Hill, Solomon, like Dante Marsh, Ryan Phillips, all those dudes. I was just like around a veteran squad. So I actually started learning like, damn, okay, like these guys actually got their stuff together. Like they're like really professional. So that was a great experience. And like I said, I was getting my mojo back. I could feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm starting to play very well. I'm starting to like contribute highly like I was playing like back in college. Have a great season. They re-signed me. And then honestly, bro, like I ended up getting cut in right before training camp. I just had bought a house, a nice crib in Winnipeg, and I have no job. And I was like, man,
what was the reason they cut you though?
New coach, Jeff Tedford, who only lasted one year in the damn league, and I feel like really messed shit up. And I'll say it because I'll say it. I'm gonna say it anyways. But he came in. He was a college coach, coming to coach the pros. And I know, like at that time, I talked to a few guys. I'm not gonna like shout any names out, but like just it really changed the culture there that they had that where Mike Benavides had built at that time. He had a lot of pros in there, but he was treating us like college guys. And like I was just like, yeah, Jeff Tedford and I didn't really get along going into spring. So it's like I knew that it was different because he wanted certain, I guess, I don't know. Like I say, bro. Anyways, I
know how it is. I know how it is because here's the psychological part of it. When you're a college football coach, you can go and talk to these kids any kind of way, right? I've dealt with it with a specific coach in the past that we didn't get along when he first got to Calgary. Now we get along. We got along after that when Huff got there, but before then, like he would say things to you like was off the wall. Like I'm not a kid. Like I get paid to do this. Like
exactly, bro. Like, bro.
I'm not the one, And one time Joffrey had to grab me, so I told him, I said, "You ever say that shit to me again, it's over." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm about to Latrell Sprewell your ass. And like, we get to that point, and I had to stop Joffrey one time. I had to stop Rambo one time, right? So it was just you're not going to talk to me like a kid. I'm a grown man.
Exactly,
I bro. Myself, I'm a grown man. You're going to treat me with respect. I don't sit up here and say stuff to you. But in college, you can't do that.
Right, exactly, bro.
In college, you can say whatever you want. I heard a coach, my coach told a kid one time, he goes, he said, "You probably the most overpaid kid on our roster in college." Like
scholarship. Yeah, scholarship. I get it.
Kid wasn't even on scholarship.
That's a try. That's a try.
You see what I'm saying? You can say whatever you want to say. Like it's kids, true. Like you can talk bad to kids because kids have to take it.
They have to.
Because if they don't take it, what's going to happen to them?
100%. 100%. And that's exactly it. And I'm so glad that you get it, Nick, because that's exactly it, bro. Like at that point, I'm already like 4 years out of the league. I mean, out of college, and like I'm paying taxes and stuff now. I actually got a job, and I'm like, bro, I don't need to be being talked to like as if I'm a kid right now. But the cool thing, like I said, bro, like Wally, I have mad love and respect for that dude because he's always been 100 with me. Like he always kept it like, yo, like this is the deal. This is what we're expecting to do. Even when he had cut me, he had called me and told me the situation based on something that I kind of already felt. Like I already felt it. Like before I even left, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be back. Cause I was like, I could just, that when you just feel it, like, bro, sun's off right now.
Yeah.
So anyways, Wally told me the truth and we broke it down. I said, thanks for the opportunity and all that sort of stuff. And that year I had an opportunity to go play with Edmonton Eskimos, and Saskatchewan wanted me to be honest. Like I think at that time I felt really salty, Nick, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I could have continued playing, but I think at that time I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take control of my life. You know, my parents are entrepreneurs. I have my master's in business administration and finance and marketing. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to start my damn business. And that's what I went to go work for myself. That's kind of like I just took actions in my own hands, to be honest.
Yeah. And, it's very unfortunate, but, the sports world is very unstable. And I don't think people really, especially in football when there's no guaranteed contracts.
Yeah.
Like, your life is so unstable. Since you made that decision, what have you been cooking up? What have you been working on?
To be honest, is networking, man. That's the biggest thing we can do as, former pros and former people of influence. Like I said, like when we're on the football field, we have so much influence and power, and like we're almost like warriors. But then when we come into real life, that kind of like almost fades away. It's not faded away, but it's not as focused, like when you're in the gridiron, like it's really focused, but it's like when you're off, like, oh, cool, you did this and this, and it's a way into conversations that you could actually build off of. So for me, man, like I said, bro, like since the 4 or 5 years now that I've been out, I've just been building, man. I've been building slowly but surely, man. And I think this year, like with everything that's gone down, it's really time for our programs and everything that we've built to kind of come and merge together. So right now we have like we have our own travel football team. We've actually just now opened up we're going to open up our own park. So we're going to have our own legit park with our own equipment. And we're like a little media show that shows different kids across the city doing sports and stuff like that on our YouTube channel. I've learned digital marketing where I could actually like put myself out there online and be able to do these types of things where it's like, everything's digital nowadays. So like I've learned these types of skills, and for me, that's what I've been doing, just networking, building, and creating story. Because at the end of the day, we're all in the same story. We just got to learn how they all compare and actually come together. So
that's it.
Yeah, man. So for me, that's what I've been on, bro. And like I say, bro, I actually really appreciate you even just taking the time to holler at me, because I know I keep on saying it, but I'm really honored, bro, like for real, because you know what? Like I look at you, bro, and like you was the type of player that I always like when I was playing, I played with intensity. Like you are the epitome of a guy who plays with intensity. You don't give a damn about the defense, which I like. You don't like, you want to smash everybody. Like anybody who come your way, you want to smash. So it's like, I don't know. Like for me, it's like for real. Like how you are as a person, and even talking to you, because I think this is the most we've ever talked. We just said hi and there, off the field and all this stuff. Like, what's up? Like, but it's really cool, and I commend you, bro, because with somebody like yourself who's done so much for the game, who's inspired so many kids, and who's inspired so many grown ass men too, and who also kind of defined the role. Because to be honest, Nick, I like your size, bro. I'm like, how the hell is this guy running so damn fast at that size? Dog? Like, he runs fast, he's strong, he can catch. Like, you just really changed the game in a lot of different ways. So, I don't know, man. I really, like I said, man, I appreciate you giving the time. I'm honored, bro. I'm honored as like a little bro to just like, for you to just be like, what's up, man? And like holla at me and let me talk and share my story, because this is something that I want to definitely extend to you and actually have you, come and talk about your story. Especially with that being a walk-on in a Division II, and then being like, you're a damn CFL legend. You're a living legend at this point. I'm gonna say it. You don't gotta say it, but I'm gonna say it. Yeah, man, it's just really powerful, man. I appreciate the time for you taking the time to interview me. Like, my career is not even as good as yours. Like, I'm looking at you like, damn, bro, you want to interview me? Like, damn, I feel special as hell right now. Like, for real. But
see, this goes so much further than just the sports aspect, right? We talk about the mentality of the man. We talk about life. Mm-hmm. And that's what this is. I'm glad I got to build a platform. And there's a lot of guys that didn't have the same opportunity because they didn't have the same time.
100%.
Right. For a lot of my career, I was hated by a lot of people because everybody saw me as a cocky dude. I did what I needed to do to perform the way I need to perform. You know, you talk about intensity, man. You're not just gonna hit me all day, and I'm not gonna hit you back, right? That's just not the way it works in my world. You know what I'm saying? So, we talk about my story, but I come from, let's compete.
Yeah.
I wasn't given anything, right? So I'm not one of them dudes coming out and like I said, when you take the field with Jermaine Copeland from Tennessee, Kenyon Rambo from Ohio State, Albert Connell from Texas A&M, Wayne McGarity from Texas. When you take in the field with these guys that are just like that you watch play when you was watching college football, you go play on Saturday, 1:00, 6:00, you watching Ohio State that night. You know what I'm saying? I've seen these dudes. You watching Ram and everybody in the NFL and different things. Like, I've seen these dudes. And my biggest thing was, oh, you gonna know me too. That was my driving force. Right? I wanted their respect more than I cared about anything else.
That's cool, man.
Right? When I stepped in, I was like, oh, these dudes going to respect me.
Yeah.
Right? They not gonna respect me today, but the work I'm about to put in, they're gonna respect it. So there is so many times where it was just I needed the ball to fit in. Right? So my driving force was I'm not gonna be the weak link.
100%.
They're not gonna be like, oh, we got this Division II dude over here that's, if we get upgrade right there. No. I am the upgrade, right? So but see, that's the mentality that created the success.
Yes, sir.
Right. So when we look at the whole mentality thing of what we're doing, and even now I feel like I have even such a bigger obligation.
Yeah, bro.
To glorify some of the guys that have great stories and that have gone through a lot in their personal life outside of just the football life or whatever sport we're talking about. And that is even a greater responsibility I have is to use this to, and we talked a little bit before about partnering.
Yes.
Partnering is huge, right? And the same way that I see everyone sitting at a table to advance the world, I see doing that to advance sports and sports broadcasting and sports media and everything around sports, right? So this is a journey I'm on, and you know what I'm saying? I'm glad to have you be a part of it.
Appreciate it, man.
Right? Because like you got 5 years in this.
Yeah.
That you built from the ground up.
Yeah.
Right? So what you offer is another way to advance, but also miss a couple roadblocks.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? So that's where we come in this, and this is full circle. Because like I told you last time, we don't compete no more.
No, man.
We only support. We only support now.
100%.
Right.
Like I said, bro, I appreciate you, man, for real. I appreciate you. Like, this really means a lot more than you actually can understand, dog, for real. Because I actually really do look up to you. I remember watching you play. I'm like, dog, that dude is a guy, for real. That dude's a guy. So, yeah, man. Like, yeah, bro.
One last thing. Your transition out of the game, you made it yourself. Transitioning to where you are today, when you transition out to where you are today, can you just speak on to help other athletes and other people in the transition? Because a lot of people going through transition right now with jobs and different things. Can you just speak on the belief you had in yourself and what could help someone transition that's in a transition right now, make it a little easier, make it a little better on themselves?
That's cool, man. That's cool. I think the biggest thing when you're starting from ground zero is not to look at what you don't have. I think that's the biggest thing is comparison. When you try to look at what you don't have, you miss what you do have. And I think, when I was done playing, to be honest, Nick, I went into probably like a deep-ass depression, man. I went probably in depression for like 6, 7, 8 months, dog. I didn't want to watch football. I didn't want to even be around it. I was just like, man, I can't even do it. And it wasn't until like earlier once the season was done and everything like that, that I actually found the courage within myself to reinvent myself and actually figure out, damn, what is it that you're actually interested in, Kito? And at that point is when I just started actually like practicing. And then what I mean by practicing is just start doing things that actually mattered to me. So like for me, I was like, all right, I'm going to develop, I have a training program. I want to develop a all-star team that goes down to the States. So I kind of started developing that concept. And then at the same time, during the kids were in school, I had to figure out different skills that I wanted to learn. So I started taking a whole bunch of online courses in terms of like digital marketing, all this stuff, figuring out algorithms, how they work, Google, all this SEO stuff. So I just started reinventing myself based on what I knew I wanted in my life. So it's like, the biggest thing I could tell anybody coming out of transition is do not compare yourself, because at the end of the day, as a football player on the field, usually we measure up because that's just how we are. Like by nature, we're like, all right, that dude is this, well, I'm better. And it's like, then you go match. That's how it works in football. But in real life, the match is really what you create. And that's what I'm trying to do, is just create my own match, which is basically pairing myself with my resources, the people, the skills, the people, the skills, the resources that I have, every single thing that I have in my life, going into and just creating something special that everybody can benefit and value themselves from. So like I say, bro, if you don't know what you're doing or don't know where you're going, I think the biggest thing you could ever do for anybody is just to add value. Give somebody else your experience. Go out and just talk to people and tell them exactly like we're talking. Like, tell them your testimony. Tell them your story. You'll feel a lot better when you can actually provide value to people, because too often in our sport, our value comes externally. Our value comes from, we score a touchdown, people are clapping. And, I was talking to my boy, Gerald Wilcox, who was Canadian All-Star back in the days in the 90s, 80s, and he told me, like, Kito, if you get into the habit of having people clap for you every single time you score a touchdown out here in the real world, you're going to struggle. And it doesn't work that way. Like, now the simple struggles for me, or the simple touchdowns for me, is, waking up, my son is there, even though my eyes are all groggy and stuff, I'm like, trying to figure it out, making him some fruit and some bagels. That's my touchdown. You know what I'm saying? That's my touchdown. So it's like figuring out those different ways that you can still celebrate your successes, and figure out that whatever ambition you do have won't come as fast as it was when you were playing, but it will come as long as you continuously to be patient, tap into the people that tap into your skills, like actually challenge yourself and learn, learn some new shit that you probably didn't even know before that you are interested in, and create, man. Create, man. Just create, bro. We're all creators, bro. We're all creators, and our story is exactly what's allowed us to be able to create. So now it's like, with our experience, that's what I'm saying. Pro athletes really intrigue me, because exactly like you're talking about, our stories are all different, but very similar in nature. When you talk about persistence, commitment, you're talking about teamwork, you're talking about all these things. Doesn't matter the damn story. You can see all these underlying same traits. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's the same concept. Don't look at the end result. Just understand it's right in front of you right now. Recreate yourself. And give value, bro. Give value. Just give it.
That's it, man. I appreciate you for coming through. Yeah, hey, tell the people how to get a hold of you. If anybody in Winnipeg or around there wants to be a part of the football team and things like that, and how they can hit you on social media.
Yeah, man. Just follow me at Kito Poblah on Instagram. Basically, I kind of do everything out there. Also on Twitter, you can find me at K_Poblah. We got a really cool new thing that we have coming up with this Manitoba Supports campaign that's like gonna really bring things together and be able to tell a story. Nick, you need to be a part of this, bro. ASAP. We need to do a Saskatchewan Supports with you out there, especially with us being so damn close. We gotta collab. I'm telling you, we gotta collab. There's so much opportunity. I'm gonna come check you probably this time this summer, dog. For real, like
I'll be around.
To be honest, dog. I might just come pop up on you, like, hey, bro.
Just let me know, man. I'll be around.
Okay, bro. All right, man. I appreciate you, dog.
Man, I appreciate you too, man. Appreciate the time.
Yeah,
and
man.
We out.
You did.
One race, baby.